When we hear the word sustainable in fashion and luxury, most of us think about things like lower carbon emissions, reduced water usage, or recycled materials. And while these things are important, they don't always tell the full story. A lot of products that are marketed as sustainable still rely on animal-derived materials. Leather, wool, silk, cashmere, down, and exotic skins are still very common, even in collections that are positioned as eco-conscious or responsible. The issue is that these materials are often presented as natural or traditional, which can make them feel more acceptable. But if we go back to the original understanding of veganism, the question becomes, are we simply making exploitation slightly less harmful, or are we choosing to not exploit animals at all? Many brands will argue that their leather is a byproduct of the meat industry, or that their wool comes from well-treated sheep. They might use terms like responsibly sourced or ethical leather. But the key point is that even if these farming practices are better, or even if the animal had a good life, the fundamental act is still one of exploitation. The animal is still being used as a resource for human benefit, whether that's for its skin, its wool, or its feathers. What's often also left out of the conversation is the human cost as well. Leather tanning in particular is one of the most chemically intensive and dangerous industries in the world. Workers, who are often located in developing countries where a large amount of leather is processed and sourced, are regularly exposed to toxic chemicals like chromium, formaldehyde, and various solvents. These substances can cause long-term health problems, including respiratory issues, skin diseases, and even increased cancer risks. In many places, safety standards are weak or poorly enforced, and workers often don't have the proper protective equipment. Entire communities can also be affected when tanning waste pollutes local water supplies. So when we talk about sustainable leather, we're often only hearing part of the story. The environmental claims might focus on one aspect, while the human and animal costs remain hidden. That's why it's so important to look at the full picture, not just what's convenient or what's marketable. Luxury has historically been built on rare and exotic animal materials. These things that signify status and exclusivity. Sustainability has become more important to consumers, but many brands have just tried to rebrand these materials as conscious or heritage, rather than actually questioning whether they should be using them at all. This result is a kind of greenwashing. It's harder to spot because the marketing focuses on environmental metrics while quietly continuing to rely on animal exploitation. That's why we think it's so important to keep coming back to clear principles. Without a clear idea of what these companies are doing, it becomes very easy to justify almost anything as being better than it was before. As a consumer, it makes conscious choices much more difficult. It means we have to look beyond the word sustainable and start asking deeper questions. Does this product rely on animal use at any stage? Is the brand trying to make exploitation more acceptable, or are they working to move away from it? And does this align with the values we actually hold and we want in the world? These aren't always easy questions to answer, but they're important if we want our choices to reflect our ethics, not just our desire to feel like we're doing the right thing. For us, we're very open about the fact that we're not perfect either. We're still learning, we're still improving our processes, and there are areas where we know we have more work to do. But what matters to us is being transparent about where we're at, rather than claiming to have it all figured out. We believe that that's part of what real ethical practice looks like. Not perfection, but honesty and continuous effort. The conversation around sustainability and luxury is still evolving. But one of the most important shifts we can make is to stop treating animal exploitation as one that's acceptable just because it's part of something that's deemed to be better, especially when that is dressed up in sustainable language. If we want luxury to truly mean something more than just status or appearance, then we have to be willing to question the systems it's built on.